In the meantime, President Obama not releasing pictures of a dead Osama bin Laden, citing that national security risk. Officials telling Fox he might have had some good reason that the bin Laden images are indeed gruesome. One showing a bullet hole in bin Laden's forehead and an eye that is, quote, completely gone. The guy who used to hunt down bin Laden for the CIA says the president's making a big mistake. Michael Scheuer, why is that?
Well, he's going to encourage people to believe that either bin Laden is alive or the government is hiding something about this. Neil, we're so conspiratorial these days that the president really, I think, should just cut his losses here. The operation itself was beautiful, but the post-operation political handling of it has been really a botched job.
This idea of inflaming tensions in the Middle East, leaving aside the fact that these countries like Tunisia and Egypt and Yemen and Syria and Libya, they've been inflamed. But leaving that aside, is there much to that this would make al-Qaeda or extreme elements mad all over again?
On the margin, Neil, maybe, but we're so disliked across the Muslim world that it really doesn't make any difference.
But I thought that was improving. It's not?
I hardly think that it's improving, sir. As long as our foreign policies remain consistent, as long as we're supporting the police state in Saudi Arabia, as long as we're supporting the Israelis, as long as our troops are in Afghanistan and Iraq, those are the big recruitment tools for al-Qaeda and its allies.
So you just are being supportive of Israel, financially or not, is enough to get these guys nuts.
It's a huge problem for U.S. foreign policy. Whether or not you support the Israelis is another question, but the fact of our aid to the Israelis is a major motivation for the jihadis.
But would you stop it all, Michael? Is that the real issue going on?
I agree completely with Congressman Paul. The government should not be able to steal money from your pocket and give it to foreigners, whether they're Israelis or Pakistanis or Saudis.
Well, you said in the past, Michael, it always ends up in the wrong hands. But back to this photo that isn't going to be released issue. If it is considered particularly violent, where was the concern for the violent images exacted on his victims?
You know, I don't know where that was, Neil. You know, the idea that any picture in today's American culture could be shocking is unbelievable. It's, you know, Hollywood does things which would shock me, but certainly seeing a man who was shot in a combat situation isn't going to shock any American.
Well, then let me ask you about how Osama bin Laden left the world. How many diehard, quite literally, loyalists do you think are still out there who worship him, you know, to the extent of dying for him, even now?
Well, in his organization, there's probably no more than 1,500 or 2,000 people. But I think the bigger issue, Neil, is he is the one person in the Islamic world who stood up to the United States, who hurt the United States, and who was able to survive for a long time. It's almost a Robin Hood story.
Yeah, but what was behind then, Michael, his declining influence?
Well, I don't think the influence was declining. I think we live in an age of celebrity, Neil. And we looked at the poll numbers that said, do you like Osama or don't you like Osama? The real poll number to look at is what the Muslim world thinks of U.S. foreign policy. And consistently, that is 80% negative total across men and women, young and old, militants and moderates.
But they'd hate us whether we're there or not, whether we're funding money or not, right?
Well, they would certainly hate us one way or another, but they wouldn't be attacking us if we weren't on their territory anywhere near the extent that they are now, sir.
Interesting. All right, Michael, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Michael Scheuer.